blessing it is to be with you all. Welcome to another Enduring to the End program. Let's open up with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another Lord's Day, another opportunity to give you thanks, a day where we can set aside all the cares and trials and troubles while living in the day of judgment. We can worship and focus on things above. Thank you for this program, Lord. Thank you for using sinners. Hopefully, we are all your children according to your elective choice, that we are servants, uh, unprofitable servants that can, with joy, share this message of judgment. Please bless this event, Father, and all the people who take their time out of their Lord's Day to spend it around your word and to be spiritually enriched, to go forth and to share the bold message of Judgment Day. And please strengthen us, Lord, when we are weak. Please comfort us when we are down and help us to turn to your word. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. I just want to thank you all for joining again. Uh, there's so much activity that took place in the past week. It's going to be a nonstop action program. But before I begin, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Any Bible verses that they came across? Any stories that come to mind? I'll start off with one. Gary Latner. I spoke to him last week, and he told me that he passed out a tract in a gas station. So all of our gas station tractors, if you ever at a gas station, it is a thing. And if you're not at a gas station, you can go to a store or you can go to some kind of event where you're seeing a random person. It could be going to a doctor's appointment or someone coming to your house to provide a service, or maybe a nurse visiting your bedside. There's always an opportunity that God can present. All right, Sir Carl, please go ahead.
I just had a verse to share. That
Yes.
is Galatians 6, verses 9.
Galatians 6:9. Okay. All right, please go ahead.
Oh, okay, I can read it.
Yes.
And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And I'll just read another passage
I
just to
like the
compare.
next verse too.
Okay. And verse 10, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. I just wanted to compare verse 9 with Ephesians 3:13, wherefore I desire that ye faint not at my tribulations for you, which is your glory.
Faint not. Ephesians 3:9.
Hmm.
Okay. Maybe I don't have it correctly.
Oh, sorry, Ephesians 3:13.
13. Okay. Yes. Can you read it one more time, sir?
Sure. Wherefore I desire that ye faint not at my tribulations for you, which is your glory. And that was compared with Galatians. It says, let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
Right. And look at verse 9 too. And to make all see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world hath been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ. And I really like the previous verse that you brought up in Galatians. As we therefore, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all. And these opportunities are what we have every day when we go to the store, when we go to work. Maybe you have a bumper sticker and you forgot you have a bumper sticker. That bumper sticker is working. I know Oliver has one on his car. Brother Dave has one on his car. And there might be many others that I haven't noted have bumper stickers on their car. And some of us, we drive a little rough, so it might be better for you not to have one. But if you're a safe driver and you're a good driver and That's a very good way to have opportunity to do good, to have that bumper sticker on your car. Thanks, Carl, for those verses. Let's begin. Other than Carl, does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? How was their week in terms of opportunities to share or to give a tract or were challenged? Okay, let's get right into it. This past week, which was Memorial Day weekend, and also May the 31st, there were a lot of activities going on, and I have plenty of videos. And this past Sunday, we saw Chris doing some tracting as well, which was pretty cool to see that. So I have some footage of that too. So let's start with the Valhalla Asian Festival. I'm gonna put up some videos here. I know Miss Evelyn's here, and I perhaps Miss Michelle. Uh, Miss Evelyn, do you mind if you're available? Could you give us just a brief summary of what the event was like if you're available?
Hi.
Hi.
It was wonderful. Well, we started like around, I think it started at 12. So we got there, they got there before me. It was Joselito, Joselito, Gary Latimer, and Beatrice. They were setting up, they had already set up everything by the time I got there. So it was raining initially a lot, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm just not. I just got a prompt to do something, but
Okay.
it's too dark and I don't know if you could see me. So it was really nice because we had the canopy and it was taking all the it wasn't wetting anything, and eventually by the time everyone got there, it stopped raining.
Gotcha.
So it
What
was
was it like
really
setting up the canopy? I know this is like almost a first where E-Bible Fellowship had signs in and around the vicinity. Was it hard to navigate? Was it hard to handle the signs? What was it like?
Well, it was quite windy because we weren't by the area where there's a dam. So I guess the air flowing would flow in our area and it would just
Mm,
flow. Everything was going all over the place. But we were learning, you learn. By the time I got there, the canopy was already set up, and that Gary and Celito did with Beatrice. I don't know if she's here. She could talk more about that.
great.
But we just kept looking around and just taking notes on how to do this, because when you have a setup like that, a festival, they come to your table. They like want to know what you're about. That's the
What was
whole
that like? What
idea.
was that like? Did were people like a little apprehensive or did they just seem very
No,
calm, like
they're
we're here for you?
very kind, calm, inquisitive. They wanted to know. All types of people came to us, all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so friendly. It was so like, wow. It wasn't like any kind of mean rejection. No, we were not. They kept coming towards us to want to know what our table was about. What was it? Yeah,
Do you think that God could be opening a door that this is something we should try again?
I definitely think this was an amazing thing to do. The amount of reception, we were allowed to track everywhere because we had a table. See,
Ah.
prior to that, Beatrice and I walked around there, and we didn't have a table. We were just scouting the place out. And they told us, don't track here because you don't have a table. So we're like, okay, we'll get a table. So when we had the table, we were able to, we had like, we were allowed to.
What a blessing. I want to thank you, Miss Evelyn and Miss Beatrice. I think there was a bit of just challenges. This is the first time we did anything like this. I don't know who got up early. I don't know who got the tables, the chairs.
Beatrice and Gary did it pretty much
Good,
right.
good,
It
excellent.
was
Let's
her
watch.
idea, which I thought
Yeah.
was amazing. Yeah.
I don't know who's the camera. Do you know who the camera person is here?
Michelle, she's
All right. Yes. Great,
yeah.
great. Miss Michelle, could you possibly give us an idea of what's going on in this image here? And Carl, if it's possible, could you send her an unmute request? Okay, maybe I can do that. One moment. Okay, got it. Miss Michelle, are you there?
Sorry, I couldn't get to the mute button in time.
Oh, that's hi. Hi,
Hi.
hi, everyone. Yeah, yeah, your question, what's going on here?
Yeah, set us up. What was it like using your camera there? Because obviously you were part of the event too. So basically you were like one of the people manning the table, and so I guess you had an opportunity to do that. What was it like just being there, and what was your take on it before I hit the play button?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I felt so blessed to be there. Everyone was working really hard doing their part. And Evelyn is right. Beatrice and Gary did all the setting up. And I believe Hasalita did too. And but they worked hard putting the tent, making sure the tent didn't blow away, using good skills to like weigh it down. And
Yeah, I see the
so,
clips. I see the clips there.
Yeah, but
yeah.
there's weights on the bottom. You see the weights that's holding
Yes, I
down.
see. I see little dumbbells.
Yeah,
Yes, I
dumbbell.
thought that was ingenious.
That was Gary's idea.
I tell you what, I don't want to, give glory to men, but I tell you, I think Gary Latner is going to get track team leader of the year.
Yeah, God really blesses him tremendously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
go. Yes, please go ahead, Miss Michelle.
Oh, yeah. Well, so yeah, I really like these signs too with the QR code. I think that's awesome.
Did anybody use it?
I didn't personally witness it. I don't know, Evelyn, did you notice
I
it?
did notice Beatrice speaking with a woman who did look at the QR code, and Gary Latimer, he also had someone look at the QR code.
Okay, so it gives it some kind of commercialized, respectable. This is not
Yeah.
just a sandwich sign made out of cardboard. There's more of a enterprise involved here.
Yes. Oh, and I just remembered something. I did notice like people watching the tent, and studying everything from afar. Like as we walked around, I videotaped a little bit, and while people were tracking the team. And then I did see people observing, like you could see from Gary pointed out too, when we were pretty far back, he goes, oh, look, we can actually see the signs like 2033 from like the
You
X
can't miss
amount
it.
of football
These
field.
are like caution colors, yellow and black,
Yeah, yeah.
All
But
right, I'm going to
people
hit the
were
play button, sister. I'm going to hit the play button.
okay.
If there's anything you'd like to add in, just
Okay.
feel free to speak over it, in terms of what you're seeing and what's you too, Miss Evelyn, please. So this was really focused on the Asian population.
Asian Americans, yes.
How did the Chinese tracks go? Were people kind of surprised you had one in their language?
Um, yeah, they were most people who took them were Asian. They wanted the Asian track.
Ah, were they like the more elder states?
Yeah,
Women.
and that's pretty much what you saw there.
All
I feel
right.
like that woman took the Asian one.
Right.
She didn't take the other one.
Thank you very much. And I have some other videos.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of people that I would ask. They said the American track was okay, or excuse me, the English track
Right.
was okay. A couple of people said no, they didn't need Mandarin.
Heard someone say, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I like your boldness, Miss Evelyn. You're just going right up to the people.
Oh yes.
And it's like, okay, I'm getting one, so let me just get it ready for you,
Yeah, Evelyn passed a lot of tracks out.
Oh yeah. I when I approach a person, I assume they want it.
So next time, we'll see if we can get a Why is the World So Divided sign in Mandarin for them.
Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. That's what we need. Shirts, something that says it in their language.
We actually have a Why is the World So Divided shirt in Mandarin. I think it looks very fashionable when you have like, Chinese characters. So maybe that would be a really nice shirt to just wear at the right time.
Yeah, for next year.
Yeah,
There's
well,
more
definitely.
festivals to come too. They said that this one isn't the most populated one, but they're the ones that are gonna come up there are gonna be the most heavily populated one. I don't know which is the next one that she signed up for, but she signed up for another one.
So this is a very, very good opportunity for us to really mingle in the crowd officially, an
Yeah.
official
Oh,
presence.
officially, yes. And the next one we should definitely announce to others so more people could come.
So I guess to tell us why you think the World So Divided sign it wasn't a big hit, huh?
It was I don't know. It wasn't my choice to put what to put up.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Beatrice. But the sign where the numbers were, they were good. I went over that with Beatrice, so she was able to explain that to somebody, to a female who asked her what those numbers were about.
Aha.
The patterns.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great.
Beatrice was also trying to get feedback on how we can maybe, or how they can improve, like how they would advertise, like having a banister across, like more bold letters.
That's right. We want to have a banister that could, and the canopy can actually hold a banister, has the clips for it.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. This was a kind of new endeavor, something that we really need to continue to try to do to get tables, chairs, and like you said, people were coming up to us. There's a couple other conversations that I would love to share if I could just find them, where Gary was actually having a conversation. Let me see if I can get them on my downloads here, and I'll share it on my. Oh, yep, I think I have it
Yeah.
right here.
Well,
Just
Salito also had a conversation as well.
all right, here
I
we go.
noticed people were coming up to yeah, that was great to have the table. They stayed a long time. There was a couple of people.
Spiritual judgment upon the world, and he tried to destroy Satan's kingdom, which is what this world has been through the process of division. And that's where we're seeing all the division, craziness in the world, the world being properly, uh, and just going from one nation to the next, it's, and you just look back and you try to think of wonder, and people will say, well, it's the politics, but there's something behind the politics. Again, a lot of information explained here with verses to support. Please don't take me as but that's the Bible supports. That's the real thing. The Bible, I know that. Yeah. The old and the old, that's the thing you know, it's line up together. Yes, this is the word we come here. This is the welding with eventually we'll go upstairs, if not here.
He had me going until he said, if not, you know. But he was saying a lot of things. He was talking about the Bible. That's where truth is. And it's so encouraging to see someone, saying, I'm not trusting you, I'm going to trust the Bible. So that's really, really encouraging. And thank you, Michelle and Evelyn, Miss Beatrice. God put it on your heart to take on this endeavor. So thank you very much. And yes, Zoom user, please go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say that not only was this an amazing and really, really interactive with the people. Most of them took the tracts, but setting up was impossible for one person. Whatever made me kind of think I was going to do this alone, God quickly corrected me and allowed so many people to offer to help. If it wasn't for Joselito and Gary, they put up, Gary and I initially had tried to do setting up the canopy, and we were kind of halfway successful, but we didn't really know how a canopy worked. But
Right.
there was another gentleman setting up his canopy next to us. He stopped, came over, and showed us all the little nuances to extend the legs and all kinds of things that we learned sort of haphazardly, but it was well worth it. Well worth it. We are hoping to have banners, and we, instead of having something on the tablecloth, to have a banner in front and behind us holding we figured out how we're going to hold up a banner for the back of it, which is seen by both sides, and just having Gary walk around assessing what other vendors were doing, how they were doing it, just gives us the inspiration that we're ready for the next festival. But it was very, very well received and very enjoyable. It's more than what I expected, and it's so much better with more people. I'm glad that I mentioned about doing it, but I'm even so grateful to God for everybody that was so supportive and worked so hard.
Great. Thank you for the inception as well. And I'm sure there were some challenges along the way. And anytime we take on a new endeavor, you will find some roadblocks. You're going to find some resistance, challenges, logistics, health, resources, people to join. And by God's grace, it turned out to be a good success and a good example for what we can possibly do the next time. So we have the Cherry Blossom Festival. Maybe we can come up with a Japanese Why is the World So Divided tract, or maybe the next, event the following year, we can come back with reinforcements.
Well,
And
Gary, God willing, this summer between June and August, there are three large festivals, very large. The This Asian Heritage Festival and the one that Evelyn and I used just to kind of get an idea of the layout was the Polish, and they are the two smallest of the festivals. The three largest are the Italian, the Hispanic, and the African American, which are coming up. And I'm, God willing, the reservations for them will be accepted, and we can do it. And by then, we probably can have the other banners.
good, excellent. Thank you very much for sharing. May it be that God might bless the future events. And there are other folks who have been doing things solo, and one of them is Miss Candace here, and she actually did uh, like a quick summary of what was going on. This was Memorial Day weekend, so we're going to play this as well. And Miss Candace, maybe after I play this, you can give us a follow-up as well.
All right, guys, I'm going to make this quick because we still got like tracks to give out. I just want to give you a little bit of a report here. It's pretty busy today, right? It's very busy, and I'm actually holding out my tracks while I'm standing here. But I've had 2 encounters so far, so it's been really good. I had an encounter with 2 young men. Normally, when I encounter these sort of young missionaries from like a youth fellowship, right? They're in the church, but they were young. And so I had asked them, well, how long have you been in that organization and, in that church? And they basically told me, well, they were listening, they were very interested. And I thought to myself, you know what? I am going to point them to the website. But that was very encouraging. Also, there was another group of people that I talked to, young people also, And, I'm standing here and I'm holding these tracks, like, why is the world so divided? The kid comes up to me and he's like, I could see that. I can see that the world's divided. I said, well, that's no mistake. I said, that's actually predicted in the Bible. The kingdom would be against kingdom. So I also gave them some tracks, pointed them to the website. And so far the reception's been pretty good, but it's still a lot of crowds down here today, so I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, I got to get back. I am
Back to work.
having too much today.
Yes, Miss Candace, I see you there. See if I can unmute your microphone. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say too, real briefly that I have the Japanese track if you want it. So just let me know and I can send it to you or I can have it printed. But the only thing is if I have it printed, usually that takes time depending on how much we're going to order.
Yeah, I think we
Um,
could definitely try to get a small batch of the more popular languages just in case. So maybe we could have just maybe one box of maybe 200 of as many
hmm,
minor
I'm gonna
languages.
see. I'll see what kind of pricing they give us because I just put in a bigger order for B and she should have that. They're gonna ship it out the first week of June. That's what they
Okay.
said.
Maybe
So I
Lord
don't
willing,
know.
sister, just to have it
Yeah.
before. So
Okay.
maybe Russian, Polish, if whatever, you know, minor
Yep.
popular languages. That's great. So thanks for going out there. What's the name of that city again, sister? The
Seaside Heights.
Seaside Heights.
And it's
And it,
interesting because I was really, I was so busy and I kept saying I should really get out there Saturday. But I had things to do that I had to prepare for the day in the Word, right? And I didn't get out there. And so I said, that's okay. I'll go out there on Memorial Day. And I think it was God protecting me because there were some crime that happened on that boardwalk over the
oh
weekend.
wow.
People have been, young kids have been stuck inside. It's a long winter here in Jersey. And unfortunately, there was trouble started and the police were called in and curfews and everything else. So by the time I did get there, right, all that had quieted down. And it was good because there was no distractions. I was actually able to, have conversations with some people also.
Yeah.
So, the dilemma that I faced was there was a group of kids. They were like, 18, 19, 17, right? And they were missionaries from a youth group, right? So I was sitting there going, okay, well, do I share with them? Do I offer them a track? And then I thought about that question that I had asked Chris about, the ones that actually went over out of all the Jews that were wandering in the desert, right? They were all 20 and under, right? And God refers to them as a prey, right? Because I was asking Chris about that because he actually makes this statement, and I forgot where it is, but he says, "You're none of you are going over except for Joshua and Caleb, right? And your little ones that you had as a prey,
Hmm.
they're going over." So that God brought that to mind, and I thought, well, and at first I had asked him, well, were you a member of the church on May 21, 2011? Because normally if I run into a church person, that's the first thing that's out of my mouth is because it's like if they were on there, if they made that decision, if they were in the church, then there's no salvation that's available to them, right?
Right.
The door was shut. But then I remember that verse and I'm going, wait a minute. They were, when they answered me and they said, well, been in the church all our lives, our parents are in there.
Yes, that's always a tough subject. And I think I've heard people ask this question to Chris, should they give tracts to folks who are in the church or if they're having conversations? And Chris says, yeah, it's fine to give someone a tract in the church because you don't know the life of that
Yeah.
tract. So thank you very much, Miss Candace. And there are many times you've been doing this, And it's just wonderful to be constant in season and out of season. And so, and I'm sure
Yeah.
there's many of other folks who are doing the same thing, who are tracking, and a lot of folks are not aware of it. And sister, it's such a comfort that you're posting that on Facebook. So thank you very much as always for
Yeah.
tracking, also helping out with track printing as well.
Well, it's the least we can do. We're all unprofitable servants, and
That's right.
we're just doing what God commands us to do. So it's kind of like, do you have, if you want to be obedient to the word of God, do you really have a choice not to be involved? I mean, I guess you do, but then, I mean, it would bother me if I didn't,
Yeah.
you
All of us
know?
as well. That's right. If we're not doing it, woe unto us.
Right, yeah.
So thank you,
Uh,
Miss Candice. We also have a new tracker here, not a new tracker, but also tracking with video. Tracking with video. It's our very own Chris McCann, who is in Upper Darby. Just to let you know, I'm actually right around that area. Upper Darby is like a little city for those who are in like the West Philly area. It's a huge transportation hub. And Chris has been known for tracking there for many a decade, many a decade. So this is just a few shorts that Chris made himself going door to door. One of which he did a pretty good one about crossing the street and following the law. I hope I can I hope I can find it. Let's see if it's this one.
We're gonna go head back home now. Make it. Going back up the hill.
Oh, okay. So this is Chris going back up the hill. And in in Upper Darby, it's a pretty big hill. Looks like Chris is going store to store.
All right, thank you. You doing? Can I do something? Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
Chris is staying active.
We're standing at the corner waiting for the light. Couple of reasons. Because it's the law, and when you're handing out tracts, people are looking for the littlest thing to find fault, and so we want to obey the law. Always, but especially when we're distributing tracts. Excuse me. Can I get that to you? Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Sir.
Just an interesting note. You see all these spots on the concrete? That's actually chewing gum. Just for those who don't know the city too well.
You're welcome. Can I get one to you, man? Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Uh, are there? For sure, what Spanish?
All right, so Chris is doing some good videography here. We're able to see all the chewing gum. We're able to see all the chewing gum, but it's hard to track and walk at the same time. It's very challenging. And Chris is a natural there, holding the phone with good sound quality and good tips about conducting yourself when you're out there tracking because yes, you're being watched and you're being watched carefully, very carefully. So, Carl, I'm not sure if you're there. You have a current team in the California area, is that correct?
Yep, I'm here.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in California? And do you feel comfortable sharing your screen?
Sure. One
All right,
second.
sure.
All right. Let me go on camera. All right. So we recently had a team that well, I'll tell you how it started. So Oliver came out to visit and he was available. So I
Mhm.
was talking to him on the phone and he found a really cheap ticket. So he flew out and me and him are gonna just go, hang out and go tracking for a bit. And Vincent, because he's local. And and then somehow some other people found out about it. And so
Whisper
the
down the lane.
yeah, so it turns out when you don't announce a track trip, it seems to attract more people. Maybe you have to use
What is that? Reverse? Is that reverse engineering?
reverse psychology, right?
Hmm.
So anyways, long story short, we ended up getting about 8 people to join up. So you'll see a bunch of shorts here. I'm still posting more. But Oliver came, a few days ahead of some others. So we had went down. So if you scroll down, you'll see a video. Me and him just went by ourselves because the rest of the team hadn't showed up until the next day, kind of late at night. So we really only had Friday. It's right above the sun video, or no, right one above that. I'm sorry.
Balboa Park?
Yes, you can play that one. That was the first day. Second day he arrived. Forget. The volume is on the.
It's all over Balboa Park. There's a
You may
lot.
want to turn the volume up on your shorts because the volume is a little low. So if you pause it. Actually, here I'll share. Might be a little easier if I share my screen. Uh, let me try.
I just want to say Chris is definitely a better cameraman.
Well, in my defense, I tried to get a GoPro up, but unfortunately I couldn't. So that's one thing. That's one nice thing about the GoPros is you can capture a lot of footage. There was a lot of good events that I missed because you can't always have your camera out, and it's a little
That's
awkward, So
And
with
it, and it could be, for those, just because we're doing it, we don't want to have other people doing it and someone snatches it and takes it. So we're kind of aware of our environment if we do have our phones in our hands. Yes, Carl, please.
that's another thing, and it can be a little intimidating. Somebody may not like to be recorded. I mean, if you're filming a crowd, it's different. But if you have a GoPro on and it's just capturing footage that's by, it's different. There's a lot of good clips that you would pick up, and unfortunately, we didn't have it at the time, but we did. We were able to capture something. So
Excellent, excellent. So would you like to share any?
all over Balboa Park.
is it sharing the sound at all?
Yeah, I can hear that. All you have to do now is share your screen
Yeah,
if you.
I'll just share some clips and tell you the big background, what happened. There's still more that are going to be posted. So if we don't show them all tonight, we'll do it tomorrow. Give me 1 second. Give me about
Take
30
your
seconds.
time. Take your time. While we wait, I just want to give you all an update. Do you remember a few months ago we did the prison ministry distribution update by Mr. Jim Highland, and he sent me a message just to give us an update on how things are going. I'm sure some of you have been praying about that, and I did speak to Mr. Jim, and he kind of explained to me how things are going. And I'm going to share this distribution attachment that he sent to me. There's quite a bit of countries that is currently being addressed. So let me just get this for you very quickly. Okay. As attachments. Okay. For whatever reason, it is hiding from me. And I just had it. Let me see if I can get it one more time.
I'm back if you can't get it.
I have it now.
Yep.
Okay. Just share my screen very quickly. So as you can see here, it says prison book distribution activity by correctional systems and facility count. So as you can see here, we have many states within systems and facility. So as you can see here, there's a lot of correspondence with bulk distribution. So please keep this in prayer. There's a lot of people who are in prison, and depending on the prison, they may have access to digital, but I'm sure this is a book distribution focus. That's in the United States. And let's look at the foreign locations. Look at how many are in England and Wales. In Scotland, 17 facilities. Northern Ireland, Irish Republic, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Nova Scotia, and look at Nigeria. What a blessing. 551. Nigeria is a very large country. It's one of the emerging countries in the world, with the average female having up to 5 children per family. So there's a lot of young people in that country. Ghana, Tanzania, Guyana, Cameroon, Namibia, Uganda, South Africa, very large number as well. And make no mistake, God's hand is in that. Dominica, Bahamas, Singapore, Belize, Puerto Rico, Zambia, Kenya, very high number. Grenada, Malawi, wow. Botswana, Malta, Netherlands. And there was a team in the Netherlands, Sweden, Ethiopia, Sudan, 240. Finland, Gambia, Jamaica, Liberia, Austria, Denmark, Germany. You can see that Africa is getting very high numbers. Could it be that God would be, focused on those areas? Zimbabwe, 46, Germany. St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucas, Swaziland as well, Lesotho. So please keep the book distribution in prayer. As you can see, there's bulk distributions in certain areas. And could it be that God would, continue to bless? And look at the people of Scotland as well. Thank you, Carl. Please go ahead.
No worries. Okay. I do have some footage I'll share because we basically yesterday, Saturday, we hit up we just focused on the San Diego area for now. We didn't really have the people who came to visit didn't have a lot of time to really stay. They would have liked to have stayed longer. So there's only so many areas you can cover. So
Right.
we went down to San Diego. We went to Balboa Park. And then I think because of Memorial Day, it wasn't as busy, even though it was a Friday, just because a lot of people, took time out to, celebrate that last weekend. So this weekend, it was a little bit less busy, but there were still people there. And then afterwards, we went to the border, the Tijuana border on the US side. Some of us actually tried to see what it would take to get in if we needed our passports, which we do now.
Mm.
So God willing, in the future, we'll try to go over. And then after that, we went down to downtown San Diego at the gas lamp quarter. And the gas lamp quarter gets really busy at night. And it just so happened that there was a major baseball game going on. And we didn't know this.
You want to play the video or no?
Yeah, I'm going to play the videos now. I'm just kind of giving a quick recap of what's
Okay.
going on. So let me go here. Let me just make sure I'm sharing my audio. Okay. So I won't play all of these, but you can watch these on YouTube. So this was on Thursday or Friday, I believe. All right, so I'm with Oliver at Balboa Park. There's a lot more people out this time. We're just trying to get to the crowds. I'm going to play a different one. Let's see. So yeah, this clip we made it to Balboa. This was just me and Oliver, and then we went to a place called Coronado Island. It's a beach that's and pretty close to Tijuana. It's the last beach you pretty much reach when you go south, at least major beach, and then you're about 20 minutes away from Tijuana.
Yeah, I'd like to know those verses.
All right, me and Oliver finished with Balboa. We just headed to Coronado just to see if we can get some tracks out. It doesn't really seem to be too busy today, even though it's a Friday. So I'm not going to play the full videos. people can watch that if they go to
This is just a preview.
yeah, just because there's some other videos I want to show. But go ahead
Okay.
and take a look at those. But yeah, later the team met up. I'll show this video. Just a few of these because these are from yesterday. Got some of the team here. Victor Guzman, Oliver James, Victor's son, and me, and a few others are heading out here. We'll have a total of 8. We got Homer Lee, Vincent, Mark, Brandon, and a few others joining us.
But it is true.
Wow.
Let's go, Mr. Lee. How you doing?
I brought the soldiers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, I see I was in Christ Jesus.
I had to leave at 5 o'clock.
You could just
No way, I'm tired. But it was good.
If you're wondering why you hear Robert Daniels, it's because Oliver has a speaker. And he's playing Bible Fellowship.
He's
Yeah.
kind of blasting. Sometimes, one time Oliver and I were tracking, and you could hear people, you could see people listening to the studies that Oliver played.
Yeah, he attached the speaker, and it the New Open Forum was on Thursday, and we were walking around the park, and he's playing it. We were kind of near the San Diego Zoo at the time, and you'll see it on one of the videos.
That's because you're young.
So we got the team here. Got about 8 people. Got our tracks wise the world's so divided, and we're gonna just go around different areas of San Diego. Maybe get the border if we possibly can, and then tomorrow we'll probably hit up areas of LA. So we really only have today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's like a half day for some people. So.
Oh, okay.
Did you bring in just English? You got Spanish too?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
That would reach out to take these tracks, and that you would bless these tracks according to your will. Give us a fruitful day, I pray, Father, and let it be according to your will. Help us to be wise in our tracking today, and give us the Spirit of Christ, I ask. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So Brandon, tell me where we at and how everything's going.
We're in this is Balboa, no? And we're passing our tracks. And we're just filling out the place, you know. Exciting because it's been a little while since I've been able to participate. You know, what is it? It's a track about the Bible and about the
So I'm here with Mark. He's gonna explain where we're at and what we're doing.
Well, we had the opportunity on a moment's notice. It wasn't really planned, but we knew that there was something happening in San Diego. Carl was going to bring some of the guys down here, and we ended up talking with Homer Lee, and he goes, "Are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm not sure." Then I said, "Are you going?" He goes, "Yes." So I pretty much knew that was prompting of the Lord to make it a point to come down to San Diego and do some tracking. And now we have about 8 of us here, and we're going to do our best to track in this area of San Diego, and hopefully we'll get down to the border and do even more there. But it's going to be according to God's will what is accomplished today. We do have a nice overcast to keep us cool by God's mercy, and we thank God for that and the opportunity to do His will.
Got some of the team here. Okay, so you can watch these other videos.
Who's those African brothers there?
Yeah, he got in a long conversation with us about
Was he Muslim?
Yeah, he was, but he said he believed in the Trinity, so I don't know. He was at a Muslim stand, so it's a little it's an interesting situation.
That's so having stands is a thing. We definitely have to.
Yeah, Balboa Park is really big there. You have the Jehovah Witness stand. I actually didn't play it, but we ran into some atheists. It's actually this video.
By the way, I'm not sure if you all know this, but I was calling in the atheist hotline, and typically when I call in, I get trashed, and it's very discouraging because my like-minded brothers would say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," casting your pearls before swine, and then just almost a day later, there was an atheist calling in a Christian, and they got trashed too. So who knows? Maybe it's God's will that we try these things. But yeah, please go ahead, Carl.
All right, I'll play this one because this one. So we actually ran into a Christian stand, and they were upset with the track, or they were just debating, and I got into
Resisting. They were resisting.
Yeah, and I try to tell him about the end of the church age, that Satan was the abomination of desolation. He's like, no, that's a man, and you saw a lot of like pride and arrogancy, when you're sharing these things, a lot of
I'll
hardness.
teach us us.
Yeah, very like there's no there. One was a little better. He was actually I listened to him more because he had his Bible open. He was trying to show me things, and then we went to the atheist stand and we had a better conversation with them. You know, um, Much better, and they're asking really good questions. Like, what do you mean? What is spiritual? So I'll play this video. This talks a little bit about that. I was telling somebody yesterday, a few days ago, there's a woman sitting by that fountain, and I gave her a track, and she was waiting for somebody. I think she was going on a date, and she wanted me to explain the track because she didn't want to read it. She wanted me to see if, I think she was quizzing me to see if I knew what I was passing out, and she had a lot of really good questions, like what is Satan's kingdom, why do the angels fall, and asked a lot of good questions. She didn't keep the track, but there was enough time. I spent enough time explaining the track to her, which was good. Stand, and we had a few debates with some atheists that say hell does not exist. We're actually can have a conversation with them versus other Christians. You see a hardness, a lot of good questions that were asked. So looks like a thunderstorm's coming, so we might have to. So unfortunately, we didn't film anything, but we did have some good conversations with them. We just, like I said, didn't have the GoPro, so it was a little bit difficult to actually. To show the footage, to film it.
Yeah, but we get the gist, and what a blessing. You said up to 8 people joined you for.
Yeah, 8 people. So this guy, these 2 guys we interviewed. This guy right here, he was asking about
Red House Society.
He was on the.
Major Thomas.
He was part of the Muslim stand. This guy and this guy.
The hard part of them. I'm gonna worry about barbecue.
Jesus is God. Yeah.
He's the.
So this guy here, he was asking questions about the track. He wanted to know what it was about.
The video's a little choppy, but I think we get the gist, and I think
yeah. And then this guy, I'll just explain a little bit about this guy. So he was asking, I want to show you this clip because he had his Bible out, and he was trying to show us what he thought was true. And he basically said that he thinks Jesus, there is a Trinity, and when he came to Abraham, it was Jesus and 2 angels. It wasn't God. And so Oliver was trying to explain, no, it represented the Trinity. And we actually found a verse where Abraham actually bowed down to them. And so Abraham wouldn't have bowed down to 2 angels and to Christ, because then it'd be given angels worship. But he was actually re-examining. He opened up his Bible, and I want to show you that part because he was trying to see if it was true.
Here in Genesis 18:5.
Back. They've been told by those who were under Joseph.
He had his Bible. He was reading it. He was reading the chapter, seeing if he because Oliver was explaining some things to him, and so we actually had a really good conversation with him. Despite him being part of the Muslim stand, he seemed a little bit open to dialogue. So I thought that was good. And then so later what we ended up doing was we actually headed to the border. So we have some clips there.
Right.
I'll show you some clips.
Did you give English or Spanish?
This is really soft. Have you touched this?
We gave mostly Spanish over here. Yeah, we actually had 1,000 shipped to us, but we didn't get it in time. But thankfully, somebody brought some Spanish tracks. They were going out really well at the border. We actually did something we've never done before because we have passed out tracks one time, a few of us at the border, but we actually crossed over the bridge. And so I'm going to show that. Let me see.
Foreigner, man. That was so funny, man.
So we're crossing over the bridge right here. So this is Tijuana's on this side over here, but you have to go through border customs to actually get into Mexico.
Can you do a day trip? Can you do a day trip if you don't have a passport, or do you have to have a passport to cross over?
At this point, it used to be, I think you could get in and go 20 miles, but you do need a passport if you're a U.S. citizen. You go through that building over there, and you see a lot of cars are entering in.
Get checked, yeah.
Yeah, and there you'll see this is all that was all Tijuana, Mexico there. Let me see.
There's actually
There we go. So Victor Guzman, he was asking a lot of people where they were from, and somebody said they're from Mexico City. So it's not just people from Tijuana; it's people from all over Mexico actually getting in. And Tijuana is, I think, one of the largest border crossings in the world. I've
Mm.
I've, I've heard maybe over 100,000 people cross daily. So you get people all around, and we found out that they actually cross over to buy plane tickets because it's actually cheaper to fly out to other parts of Mexico from Tijuana than it is from the U.S. And so some people actually take that route.
All right, so this is the border crossing where people just walk
So
over
this
and
bridge right here
traveling.
is where you actually cross over to get on to get.
They're able to.
And
So we actually found a really good area. There's like a.
so right here is we the guy told us
This is
federal
we're still on.
property. So we weren't allowed to be on this side. We had to just cross over to the left. But there was still a lot of people getting boarding the train here and getting on the
Great. So do you think that this is a possibility to do again? Another.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me and Brandon were actually going to today, but I didn't think it was going to work out. We were going to actually drive back down, and because he happened to bring his passport, he brought it by accident. We were actually going to go cross over and pass out tracks with our passport because there's a lot of vendors and people selling food in the streets, tacos and all that. So he agreed to come back down next time he's available,
Okay.
and we'll go ahead and do that.
And if I may ask, I think there was a question asked the last event about going to Ethiopia. I think it's Ethiopia. If it wasn't Ethiopia, maybe it was Morocco.
Could have been, yeah, it could have been.
I think it's Morocco, right?
All right, so it's getting.
Either
So
Ethiopia or
what
Morocco.
happened later in the evening? So we left the border. This is the last. We left the border. We got out some tracks, and then we headed down to the gas lamp quarter in San Diego. And
Wants to carry things in their.
there was a lot of people trying to get into the stadium here.
Well, that was the Padres game.
Yeah, this is at Petco Park in San Diego. We missed the crowd going in.
Dinner, and then we're going to try to get the
So
crowd.
what we did is we ate some dinner. We sat down, ate some dinner.
Trying to get into these videos.
So Brandon, overall,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to show them all. We'll get out of time. But we just ate. We ate outside, and then we were right next to the stadium. So we waited. We were watching the game on the screen, and then we waited. We waited about an hour and a half. It's
So
still
all the people funneled out.
right, and so this is where we got all the people.
how would you say the day's gone so far?
No.
There's a lot of people coming out.
There we go.
There's a lot of people coming out because their team lost. Padres game ended. I just wanted to show the crowds that this place nonstop has just been pouring out with people
Okay.
from the Padres game. And
Yeah, I think there was over.
there's like a huge
That would be a
crowd.
good, that would be a good
thousands
place
of
for a
people.
sign.
Yeah, we really needed a sign here because there's just so many people coming out.
As you can see,
It actually got to the point where like I was trying to back away because there was just hordes, and it
Okay.
looked like an event where you could actually get
Great.
stampeded.
Thank you very much, Carl. I think
Yeah,
sensory overload there. Thank you very much.
yeah.
It seems like a very fruitful trip, and it looks like it's very international, would you say?
Um, you mean there at the?
Just the area
Yeah.
you are. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's a big melting pot over here. You're
okay.
you're between two of the largest, most populated cities. So, yeah, it's you can reach a lot of people, but the border definitely is something we should try out because
Okay.
the reception is naturally better there. But it's okay, it's not always about how many people take the tracks. A lot of people just saw the message.
Right.
You're holding up the tracks. A lot of people saw the message.
Okay. So just to let you know, the Puerto Rican Day Parade is June 8th. It's next Sunday. For those who want to be tracking on the Lord's Day, Sunday, that's in New York City, June 8th. Joselito, he mentioned this particular trip, so if anyone's in the area, you can just coordinate with him and just say hello. Shoot him an email. I'm sure you all have his information, those who would like to connect. And that is the Puerto Rican Day Parade. That is Sunday, June the 8th. Okay. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Anyone tracting or any encounters that they've had or any words of encouragement?
I actually would like to share one last thing.
Okay.
I won't show anything. I'll just share it. Just as far as people that were coming out of the stadium, you get a lot of mixed responses, right? You have people obviously were drinking and they would play around and be like, let me see one of those,
Right.
give me one of those tracks, and but it's good. They're taking it. You don't know where it's going to go. You had people that say, oh, I know the answer, it's religion, and they throw it out there. Then you had people who eye it and like, no, they're like, wait a minute, let me see that. And I had people like go through the crowd just to reach out and grab the track. It really stood out to them. They're like, that's a very good question.
Right.
Several of those. I had several of those. Then I had a woman say, you know what? I'm going to take it because I see you're working really, really hard out here.
The pity tract. I've
Right.
had that quite a bit,
Yeah. But that's okay.
That's right.
Whatever.
Sometimes I'm in an area and I don't want to get racial, but let's say there's like a black person sees me and there's like a lot of white people. They'd be like, I'll take one, brother. And
Yeah.
that's it. And he said, thanks. Because he's thinking like they're not taking it because of skin tone, but who knows? Maybe God could move that person
Yeah.
just because they took it out of pity, thinking that was my agenda.
Yeah.
But
And some people, some guy took it and he gave it to somebody else. He's like, here. I thought that was funny. Uh,
a handoff.
and they took it. The person.
Yeah.
So
We don't know what God is going to ultimately do, but
yeah.
we're making ourselves available. And so for everyone who's watching this program, whether you're watching it on Zoom or on YouTube, we're just ordinary people. We're unprofitable servants. I can tell you this, tracting is not my strong suit. You might think it is just by the way I'm doing it, but no, there are many times I don't want to do it. It's almost like exercise. You wake up in the morning and you know you have to exercise. You don't want to do it. But when you're doing it and after you've done it, you're so glad that you did. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Some of you might love to go track things. Like I can't wait to go tracking in the morning. And so you do that too. But for some of us who may not have those opportunities, for whatever reason, it could be health, it could be just the fact that maybe you have a job where, you could be compromised if that's what you're doing. There's always a way that God will provide an opportunity for you to declare the truth that God has blessed you with. So I
Yeah. I just want
definitely,
to tell
yeah, go
anyone
ahead.
who's living in the area too. If you're on the West Coast, that Gary and them do a good job on the East Coast, but we have to hit all states. We can't exclude any. So and there's a lot of people that live in California. There's like 12% of the population, 40 million people. So if people are on the West Coast and they haven't gotten out since family radio days, highly encourage people to get out and start tracking. At first it may seem intimidating, but once you're out there, God really he moves things, and same thing on the East Coast.
Right.
So
I've never regretted going out tracking. Never. Never regretted. Yes, sir, Will. Please go ahead.
Greetings, brethren, sisters. Hi, everyone. Let's see. I make this quick to get somebody else a chance. I wanted to share something I came up with last week. Let's see. So the message on May 21, 2011, the judgment of God transitioned from the churches to now include the whole world. We're now living in the day of God's judgment. The door to heaven has been shut. Visit eBible Fellowship or New Open Forum for more information. Preceded by the Why is the World So Divided message. The Euxie circle that Carl introduced us to, I researched that more. And within that circle, of course, we know there are many countries, but trying to get the most bang for the buck to start, India and China alone within the circle have 3 of the 8 billion people of the world in those 2 countries alone.
Wow.
So, as you know from the last couple of weeks, I was out of town last weekend, missed you guys, was sending that message to people in, I'm trying to start with India and China because that has so many. I just have an endless list of places to send emails to. But I was thinking today I was thinking while I was doing that, I like to do that when I'm listening to Chris's Q&A and just do that work in the background on the computer. And I'm like, well, this is one person's email in a country. Great. Well, that is great, but if I send that comment without the .org, like you taught me, Gary, in a comments to an India or China place where I'm seeing hundreds of thousands of people touching those videos, I'm going to get a lot more people reading the message probably when they read the comments. And so I was hitting China and India today, where some of them had 3 million views. I know
Wow.
that might get lost, but somebody will read those comments. And sometimes I get an email, somebody's reaction, and it's not very good. But well, I
That
can't.
means you
They're
know
not
it's
all
working, Sir
elect.
Will. That's how you know
Huh?
it's working.
Yeah. Um, and I thought of another thing that um, let's see. I thought while I was doing China and India comments on YouTube videos to get hopefully more people seeing the message, I guess God must have put it into my mind. I don't know if I ever thought of this, is what is the most watched YouTube video in the history of the world? I got a list of about ten videos that have over 1 billion views.
Wow.
And I actually, most of them don't let you put the comments in anymore. I guess they don't want to keep paying all that money to that person. That's a lot of money to pay, I guess. And but two or three or four of them, I got to send the message through to a YouTube video where where there has been more than 1 billion views. Now they may get lost, but somebody may see or read that. Pretty interesting. But I just wanted to say to those who don't go tracked, for whatever reason, if they're not comfortable, if you're in a restaurant and you leave your signed receipt for the bill, you can leave the tract there. When you're in a grocery store or any store or Gary's gas station, give them a tract because when you're at a store, you're the boss.
That's right.
Generally take it, and oh God, I hope you're one of your elect when you leave, pray. And I think
They
that's
better
about
they
it
better
for
take it
now.
because they're working for that tip, right, Sir Will?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's all for now. I'll just continue to try to spread the word into the circle there.
Yes. Thank you for that those words. I still pray that we can still do a virtual mission trip. So
Hmm.
maybe we can find one of those YouTube videos and all of us, can you imagine? The first 20 comments were all about e-Bible fellowship and the world is divided. So maybe as one of our goals for the quarter by June 30th, I will post a link. Maybe we'll all choose a video. Maybe Will, you can do some research. We'll choose a video, and as our homework, we'll all put in a comment. And we'll flood the first comments. Maybe it's something that's of interest that's trending, and then we can do it that way and just see what comes of that.
Yeah. One more thing, Gary, on a smaller note than that will be, I'm sure, is I try to generally make at least one a day of YouTube short, and it's always like, why is the world so divided? You've seen some of mine from
Oh yeah.
Orad or whatever, and it's always got in the text New Open Forum or
Right.
2033 or E-Bible Fellowship, and those are generally getting anywhere from 1 to 2 or more hundred views every single day, and it's like, yeah, it's better than nothing. And as I've told you months ago, those are going all over the world, even if I don't pay for it.
That's
So.
right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Well, and just remember, everyone, when you do something on YouTube, it stays there. Those
Mhm.
comments are recorded, it's filed. I really went down a rabbit hole to look at how the internet is actually backed up on magnetic film. I think Kodak or Fuji, all the data on the internet, they're backing it up on some kind of magnetic film. So in case they need to refer to things, all these companies like Sony and Fuji, they actually are backing up the entire internet on
Wow.
on forms. So just imagine
Oh,
all the information that's there, all the videos that eBible has, they're being stored. And so
one
when you,
more thing, Gary.
yes, go ahead, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. I didn't want you to mute me and I don't get to say it. It was pretty important. Sorry about that.
Sure.
And that is that I, last week or so, I heard what you said about Mandarin, and then I researched India, and I figured that Hindi, you get the name of that language, Hindi, yeah, was the number one language in India, Mandarin the number one in China. The message, I won't read it again. You've all heard me say it 100 times about May 21 and judgment, the door is shut. I have that saved in a Gmail email in Mandarin. That message, I translated it from Google into Mandarin and Hindi. China, India, 3 billion people in those two countries alone out of the 8 billion, and I can send it to those places I'm sending it to in their language, even though I'm picking a lot of English speaking websites and stuff.
That's great.
Okay.
Yes, that's excellent. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to copy and paste so that way
Yeah.
we're not just reinventing the wheel every single time. I have a clipboard on my phone. And so I can just pop a very detailed, carefully curated message on a YouTube video, whether it's news, politics, finance, weather, funny videos. I can just pop that message in right there because everybody goes to the comments. So thanks, Will. Very, very helpful. And also, Tommy Morris has been doing Redbook or Red Note. And that's that Asian platform that just in case if TikTok dies, Tommy's been posting videos and Bible verses. Everybody has their own gifts. Whatever your gift is, may it be that God would continue to move you to do that. One of my gifts is I like to advertise, and one of my dear friends, Les Palmer, has been working with me on a project. I'm going to share my screen so you can see this. This is in its trial phase right now. This is a concept, and Les Palmer has been a big, big help. This is what I want the 20-foot banner to look like. This is just a um, a prototype. This is the framework of what we're building. Where can you imagine something 20 feet long? You have people holding. So when someone says, "No man knows the day or the hour," or "How did you come up to this information?" It's almost like a little museum of the timeline. And as you can see, there's icons, there's key data points that we think would be useful that we would submit to folks to say, listen, we're saying that 2033 could be a potential day of rapture. This is all the information that we've learned from the scriptures, and we are thinking it's pointing to the 2033. And I was talking to Carl a little earlier today, and I was hoping, Carl, if you're still there, what's that statement that you make about how the biblical calendar of history ties in with the historical account and in some ways is even more accurate? Do you have that kind of wording if you're still there?
Yeah. So Mr. Campion mentioned this a lot in his books, but you have the biblical timeline of history, and contrary to Usher's timeline or the Jewish timeline, this is all derived just from the Bible, right? But there are dates in there that line up with secular dates. For example, Solomon's death is arrived at by starting with Adam, going through all the patriarchs and arriving at when Jacob enters Egypt. It's 1877. You go 430 years later, you get to 1447. And then from there, the Bible lets us know there's 480 years later, Solomon lays the foundation of the temple. So you get to 967. He reigned for a total of 40 years. So if that's his fourth year, just add 36 more years, and you get to 931 BC. And that date was derived solely from the Bible. But it turns out that, I don't know if it was secular scientists, but somebody else had arrived at that same date, the death of Solomon, outside the Bible, a completely different source. And so that lines up with the biblical account. And it's not just that date, it's the reign of Jehu was arrived at using like an ancient Assyrian obelisk. They're able to backtrack also using a solar eclipse. So they dated it using that method. But again, the Bible has dated at the same date of 842 BC, I believe. And then you have dates like Cyrus conquering Babylon at 539 BC. That also lines up. When Nebuchadnezzar began to reign, that was on Babylonian tablets, I believe. So you have all these. It's more of recent history. I would say anything when you get to past the Exodus, when you get to like anything beyond 1000 BC is really when history syncs up. Now, not everything's perfect. Some kings, but I mean, not everything lines up, but a lot of stuff does with the Bible. So anything that doesn't line up with the Bible, we actually know is incorrect because we have the Bible as the foundation source of
So
truth.
what we're hoping to do, Lord willing, is to have a banner similar to this, and a 20-foot banner with the other side with a huge QR code with a specific message. And then if anybody comes up and says, "No man knows the day or the hour," or "How'd you guys come up to this information?" All we have to do is flip that sign over, and people can just walk up. And maybe we can have a very, attractive statement. Maybe "Time shall be no longer," or "The Weaver's Beam," which is one of my favorite, or "The Weaver Shuttle." And I think people would be, "What's a Weaver? What's a Weaver Shuttle?" And that would just kind of bring people in. Who knows? But this is the inception point. If this turns out to be well, maybe we could have a tract where you have information on page one, and on page two, you have this timeline map of very important key dates. So that way people can walk away with Bible verses, and particular. I like Jonah with the big with the big fish inside the person. But I hope that God in his mercy would continue to, you know, utilize people, and projects like this. Maybe I know I was working with a family. One of their daughters is very good using Canva. So it's possible that maybe we can all collaborate and work on things like this. Okay. I see someone making a comment. Did EBF get any feedback from listeners of shortwave radio? I believe the answer is yes. On YouTube, there's a couple of folks who are actually doing a short who is broadcasting what they're hearing on shortwave and letting us know that the signal is fine. I also want to mention that there's a Philadelphia station, 860 AM, starting this Monday at 7 a.m. We invite for you to tune in. It's WWDB. That's Water Water Delta. Uh, what's B? Beta? WWDB 860 AM. That's going to be in Philadelphia, and we invite you to listen in on the internet or to listen in with your radio. Let us know how the signal is. How does it sound? Maybe you can also share that as well. Now that you have YouTube comments, my favorite Christian radio station is 860 AM WWDB.
Hey, actually, I think he was asking probably more along the lines of it as a listener outside of eBible, not somebody just checking it.
Did EBF get any feedback from listeners of shortwave? Yeah. The last day in the word, Tony Moyes, he read a statement about how they were a former family radio listener, and they
Well, I
heard.
don't know if he heard it from shortwave though.
Oh,
He,
really?
yeah, he didn't hear it through shortwave. He typed in, he decided to type in Bible Q&A program because he
Oh, okay.
remembered. Yeah, that wasn't heard through shortwave.
Hmm.
So I haven't seen any feedback yet. Doesn't mean there isn't somebody hasn't listened, but we
Well,
haven't gotten any
if you're
feedback.
listening shortwave, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
You may not have access to internet. You're not just doing it for a hobby. You're doing it because you don't have internet. You don't have the tools to let us know. Shortwave is like free television. It's free, it's free access. All you need is
Well,
electricity.
just to give some stats, there's about 1% of the US population that uses shortwave, which 1% is still a lot. That's 3 million people out of 350 million. So it's obviously not as big as radio, which has 88% of the US population that still listens to radio.
Right. And
Uh,
just
however, however,
globally,
it's still reaching some people, so that's better than nothing, even though it
yeah.
may, so and out of those
And
3
we're in the
million,
top 1%, in terms of financial wealth. We're going to be utilizing other means, but for folks who live in Nigeria and Africa and China and Middle East, and if they need to hear world news for free, they're gonna use their shortwave radio. You don't need internet to catch the news and events. So yeah. Okay, everyone. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? I think we've gone through a lot of content, and it is such a blessing to see so many folks doing individual things, and I'm sure you all are doing it as well. Um, oh, Salvador, he passed out a tract at a gas station, I believe. So we have people who are doing it. So gas station challenge is still up. The gas station challenge. If you're pumping gas, you should be pumping tracks too. So I see Tommy. It says I just posted. Let me see. Tommy says, I just posted the biblical timeline of history on Red Note banner and sent out to all the chat rooms for everyone to see and read it. Excellent. So may God bless all of your efforts, all of your endeavors. And if we're not able to post it on this program, please know that God is watching. You're utilizing your talents well. And on the back of the Why is the World So Divided tract, it says, Good, thou faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful in little, and he says, Be thou ruler over much. So could it be that God would continue to use us for his glory? And I think also Mandy's been very faithful on YouTube. If you go back to all the Q&As, you'll see her posting something. Salvador as well, and many others that I'm not stating your name. Uh, please continue to do so, and may it be that God would bless all of your endeavors. All right, Gary, do you mind closing us out in a word of prayer, please, if you can hear me, Gary? Gary, Hawaii.
Sure, Gary, I would love to. No problem.
Great.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, God of all mercies and goodness, we serve you, Lord. And may it be from our heart. May it be with our financial, our times, however way you provided for us to serve you, O Lord. For we give you praise and honor and glory, O Lord. And thanks so much for this program, for E-Bible Fellowship, and for the track distributions. O Lord, may you bless it according to your mercy. May you draw those you have planned to feed, O Lord. We thank you so much for this new month, Lord, and teach us and direct us to the way that you want us to go, O Lord. For in this is our joy, is serving you. In Christ we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone. May God bless you till we meet again. Bye-bye.